morning, viewers, and welcome to another edition of the DDM Morning Show, your daily insight into the most trending topics shaping our world today. I am Toshku Raphael of Guabaka, joined by my co-host, Ibrahim Umawasi. Ibrahim, you are welcome to the DDM Morning Show today. You're muted. All right, today is Monday, 4th August 2025, and we'll give you a package of hot stories. Kemi Badenoch's renunciation of her Nigerian identity, the alarming economic impact of ISWAP's taxation in the Lake Chad region, and finally, the recent large-scale layoffs by a billionaire CEO who plans to replace employees with AI. Oh, today will be wonderful. All right, let's start with the first story. Kemi Badenoch, leader of the UK Conservative Party, has publicly renounced identifying as Nigerian, stating that while she is Nigerian by ancestry and birth, she no longer sees herself as Nigerian by identity. Now, this declaration emerged in a podcast episode released between August the 1st and 2nd, 2025, featuring conversations with former UK MP Guy Brandreth. MP there means Member of Parliament. So Badenoch disclosed she has not renewed her Nigerian passport since the early 2000s and emphasized her emotional and political allegiance lies firmly with Britain, where she currently lives with her family and pursues her political career. Now, Badenoch, born in London to Nigerian parents, but raised primarily in Lagos during her childhood before moving to the UK at age 16, described never quite feeling she belonged in Nigeria. She cited her family's decision to return her to the UK due to perceived lack of future opportunities in Nigeria and expressed a critical view of the country's political environment, highlighting corruption and systemic dysfunction she witnessed growing up. Now, these experiences shaped her political views, including opposition to socialism and allegiance to conservative principles. Her remarks have sparked significant controversy and criticism, particularly among Nigerians and Nigerian officials. For instance, the Nigerian Vice President Kashim Shettima criticized her disparaging comments about Nigeria, suggesting she had the right to remove Kemi from her name if ashamed of her heritage. Badenoch's comments about Nigerian identity and her distancing from it have been interpreted by some as politically motivated, aimed at solidifying her position within the UK Conservative Party's right-wing, anti-woke faction. Now, analysts note that embracing a British identifying identity exclusively helps her counter allegations of dual loyalty and aligns with her public persona as a culture warrior aiming to revive British pride and control immigration. Now let's talk about this hot topic. Badenoch has been a hot issue. The one woman who is not afraid to speak anyhow she wants. Many people would say she has been doing that because of politics. She wants to be the Prime Minister of the UK, one of the most powerful nations in the world. Mr. Ibrahim, let's start with you. You have been the one who you have this aversion.
You are hearing it, but we are used to do the program here, and I edit the video.
Mr. Ibrahim.
Mr. Tochukwu.
Okay. Let's have your take. You have been a strong opposition or opposer of this woman. Her latest statement that she has renounced her identity, Nigerian identity. What's your take on that? Do you think somebody can just stand up, wake up and renounce her identity? She ceases to be a Nigerian. Do you think that makes sense?
You know, I'm not surprised seeing, I have seen it coming, actually. You know, Kemi Badenoch has been controversial in her speeches, most especially towards Africa and Nigeria in particular. She denounced her identity, any attachment to Nigeria. It doesn't come as a shock. And she had the right to do so most especially in a world whereby today you have the choice to even decide which gender you belongs to, not even the country. So it is sad for us children of Africa to see our celebrated children out there denouncing their roots, their African roots, and even being ashamed to call themselves Africans. There's that African proverb that if your hand is rotten, you can't cut and throw it away. But Kemi Badenoch has cut that hand that she perceived as being rotten and throw it away, which is Nigeria. I don't believe Nigeria is that bad as Kemi Badenoch is putting it out there to the world to see. You see, I am strictly against her stance, but let us be honest for a while. Her decision also exposed a festering wound in our national image. For a child of Nigeria born in our land to find greater utility in disavowing us than in defending us, because she was born in Nigeria, is revealing just how fractured the country has become. This is a moment for national introspection. What has Nigeria done? What has Nigeria failed to achieve? And we should start thinking of how can we get the best out of our country, because our country is our only heritage. And I don't believe in dissociating yourself from your country because the country is doing bad. And for Kemi Badenoch, I have a message for her. And regardless of how far she go or she become the UK Prime Minister, we wish her well. But one thing she can't change is her black skin. Every time they look at her, they see Africa in her. No matter how far she tried to distance herself from Africa. She's a black woman, and there's nothing that can change that. So she might renounce Nigeria on paper, but Nigeria will remain a mirror to her legacy. And forever, she will be referred to as a Nigerian, even in the UK. Thank you, Mr. Tochukwu.
Now we have been talking about.
I don't know if I may come in.
Mr. Of course, the floor is yours.
Yeah,
what do you think about it?
Let me see. I'm going to say this from my personal opinion because I can't remember what really happened, but I know she's bitter about the country. I know there was something that happened to her at some particular time when she said police arrested her brother or something. I believe she's talking from her bitter experiences. So sometimes when she talks and says things like she's not going to be part of the country, she doesn't want to. She's denouncing her Nigerian identity. I believe that's where she's coming from. I believe it's actually deeply personal. But looking at her actions, I just had to go and check when she said all this, and I realized that she actually hasn't even renewed her Nigerian passport in decades. She doesn't identify as Nigerian. Even if she's going to talk about the country, she says she's just Yoruba. Okay, so while personally I feel this is personal to her, but there's something she does not realize, that she's like a public figure. So most of the populace, they expect that she should talk from a unity point of view. To me, our rhetoric is divisive, which is not expected of a leader. So we expect that at least she should realize that as a leader, she's the conservative leader in the UK. So most people look at her as oh, this is how she is. She's kind of divisive. Okay, so maybe she doesn't understand that part. But naturally, leaders are expected to bring people together and not to bring those divisive rhetoric that will. To me, I don't think, from what she has said, I wouldn't call her a leader per se. She forgets that she leads a lot of people. She's the leader of the Conservative Party in the UK, and she should not extend that to our own heritage too. You are trying to unite in one part, the Western world, but yet you are trying to decide divisive to the place where you are coming from. It's not right, and it's actually totally wrong. That's my opinion about that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kevin. Mr. Dunamis, what's your take on the Kemi Badenoch's renunciation of her Nigerian identity? Because some people will make this argument that Nigeria itself has not been in existence for thousands of years in the past. It only started to exist from 1914. So Badenoch is some kind, right, her renunciation, because she is a Yoruba. She's not a Nigerian, if you make that kind of argument from that angle. So what is your take on her renunciation, Mr. Dunami, Mr. Due process?
Due process, you mean? Okay.
Yeah.
Please, can I chip in here?
All right.
I think from your question, you are trying to bring out another argument that since Nigeria is a country that was created actually by the same UK she's serving, then she has the rights to say Nigeria does not exist, right? I think that's your basic of your argument.
I'm not the one making the argument. That is the argument some people are making, using to justify her renunciation of her Nigerian identity.
No, there's no justification for someone to say he doesn't belong to any country. Even the UK itself was created by another people. So definitely, if you want to say, no, because Nigeria was created in the 1914, so everyone has the right to say, I don't belong to Nigeria, then the same thing goes to any other country on earth, because there was a time that that country did not exist. So it is not even, I think, a rational argument for anyone to begin with, because Nigeria began 1914, so everybody has the right to say, I don't belong to that country. Yes, she has the right to say she's a Nigerian or she's not a Nigerian, but the argument shouldn't be on the basis that Nigeria was created in 1914. And by the way, Nigeria was created by the UK in the same vein. They were the one who brought the Yorubas, the Igbos, the Hausas, north, east, west, and say, let's be together. If she is strictly against uniting Nigeria, then she should start from the United Kingdom, who actually did the mistake in the first place, not unleash her mayhem on Nigeria. It is clearly hypocritical.
All right, I've gotten your point, Mr. Ibrahim. Mr. Dunamis, Mr. Due Process, what's your take on this, please? You are muted. Unmute yourself. You are muted. You are muted.
All right, so can you check or sound to hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, good morning, viewers all over. It's a pleasure to be here. And the discussion this morning still persists on Kemi Badenoch. One expects that she should have shifted the conversation by now, but I'm surprised that it's still going on and on. And to the extent she's now renouncing ever being a Nigerian. I don't know. That's the highest one would ever imagine she would have gone in this route. That being said, if institutions of the country have failed her at one point or the other, it does not justify the continual rants in the country. If everybody should run away from Nigeria on the grounds that Nigeria has failed them at one point or the other, then there will be no country, Patriotism entails that citizens don't give up on their country. If at the moment she's having every moment of her life as she has ever imagined come to pass in UK and all that, it should not justify continually talking down on Nigeria as a country. And if we look the other way around again, our leaders, so to say, who parade themselves as leaders, have actually justified every step she's taking against the citizenship of Nigeria, because the identity of being in Nigeria alone is a battle that everyone faces. The moment you are declared a Nigerian, you're already facing a battle you never took part in. So that is what she's trying heavily to run away from. But then she should see beyond leadership, because nobody gets away. Leadership is just an opportunity to serve. She should not make it look like her life depends on it. If she's not made the prime minister, does not in any way reduces her to nothing. It's just opportunity. She has presented herself to serve, and if she doesn't emerge, she should have a life to live. To live on and move on. But suppressing the image of the country continually at that rate is condemnable by me, and I will never support it.
Right. Thank you very much.
And also, Mr. Tutukurafel, let's make the point clear. Barack Obama became US president, and he never denounces Kenya roots. The former UK Prime Minister has an Indian root. He never denounced his Indian root. This woman just contested the seat of president with Donald Trump. What's her name again? I forget her name. She's a black woman.
Clinton. A black woman.
Yes.
Okay.
She's always proud to call herself a black woman. So distancing herself with her root is not in any way giving her a very good image anywhere in the world. If she wants to become UK Prime Minister and she thinks denouncing her root is the pathway to lead her there, then I think she's making a very, very huge mistake. I think nobody achieved anything in the world by distancing himself from his roots.
Then, in addition to that, whatever it is that we are facing as a country, she should acknowledge that the UK is actually 50% part of it. The disunity at home, the bad government at home, the UK government over the years have been part of whatever we are feeling. Even the election that has been failing the country, the UK is complicit in it. And if she is in doubt of this, she should go and read How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. Is a book, that tends to educate people like her who probably may have misinformation. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. If anyone wants to communicate or make contribution, you raise a hand and I will give you the floor. But what we have agreed upon is that it is not sensible, it is not justified by anything with any reason to renounce your citizenship, your birthplace. All right, let's move over to the second topic or story. The Islamic State of West African Province, ISWAP, generates approximately $191 million annually by imposing a structured and sophisticated taxation system on locals and transient economic actors in the Lake Chad region, spanning parts of Nigeria, Niger, Chad, and Cameroon. This is coming from the new humanitarian 2025 report. Now, this taxation system forms a core component of ISWAP's quasi-state governance, underpinning its operational capacity and insurgency efforts. Now, ISWAP's taxation mechanism comprises three primary categories. First is what they call zakat, a religious charity tax levied mostly on cattle-owning farmers and herders, generates about $3.7 million annually, with rates varying between 1% and 3.3%, depending on herd size. Now, though ISWAP collects this tax primarily in cash, livestock seizures occasionally occur for internal use or community events. Very sad indeed. Now, second is what they call haraji. Maybe Ibrahim will help us to pronounce this one. Haraji taxes, non-resident fishers, traders and farmers entering ISWAP-controlled territories for work or trade, generating roughly $108 million per year. For instance, entry permits cost a flat fee of $13, while fees for fishing area allocations range from $13 to $196 per season. Now, double taxation is common also, as both fishers and fish dealers pay fees on cash quantities. Third is what they call darayib, is a discretionary tax imposed to fulfill urgent financial needs, such as purchasing weapons or medical supplies, raising around $4.8 million, though it has occasionally sparked dissent due to its unpredictable imposition. Remarkably, ISWAP's taxation revenues far surpass formal government collections in the region. For example, Borno State in northeast Nigeria collected only about $18.4 million in taxes in 2024, approximately 1/10 of what ISWAP generates from the same territorial area. ISWAP enforces these taxes through foot soldiers and administers some public services and Sharia-based courts, positioning itself as a de facto governing authority amid weak state presence. Now, this is what the situation we find ourselves in Nigeria. We all, know that sovereignty is indissoluble. It cannot be shared by any other person. It simply means the supreme power or authority of a state or government of a state to make and enforce laws within its territory without being subject to any other authority. But we see this sovereignty being divided by non-state actors. We have them, and this does not only occur in the north, it also happens in the south and in the east. Unknown gunmen have been known to collect taxes from people who conduct burials. If you want to conduct burials, you have to pay them before you do that in the southeast here. So it has become endemic in Nigeria. What's your take? Let me start from Ibrahim. Since you are from the east, you are from the north, I mean to say. So what is your take on this?
Yeah, I don't know if I can please speak before Ibrahim.
I don't think the issue of insecurity is has to do with the place that the person is actually, because I don't think there's any safe place in Nigeria any longer. I will start by pronouncing the words you said. Maybe I should be the one to pronounce it well. I'm in a better position. The name is Haraji. Haraji is the word for tax in Hausa, because in northern part of Nigeria there was a formal system prior to the coming of the colonial powers, and the system kind of similar to the current one we are currently practicing. And that haraji, that taxes, was established prior to the coming of the colonial powers. So with regards to ISWAP collecting $191 million and yeah, that's more than 200 billion naira, and that's disturbing. Actually, that's highly disturbing. And going by the fact that if you look at the GDP of most of the states in Nigeria, I think it is only Lagos State that is more richer than ISWAP in that instance, because only Lagos generates more revenue than them in a year just on tax collection. And it begs the question: if ISWAP alone could collect $191 million annually, what is happening to our own government? Why are they still crying for where are we going to source food? Why are we so reliant on what some people like to call Dutch disease, relying on crude oil alone, while we have a lot of other options to explore on? So that's the question. And this level of financial power, and not only question Nigeria's security apparatus, but points a disturbing picture of terrorists acting like de facto government and everywhere in Nigeria. I wouldn't say only northern part of Nigeria, because we just have a different version of insecurity in different parts of the country. In the northeast, we have the Boko Haram and the ISWAP. In the northwest, we have the banditry and kidnappers. In the north central, we have Haiders. And in the southeast, we have the unknown gunmen. In the south, we have the Niger Delta militant. And in the southeast and southwest, we have another version. So we have different versions of insecurity, terrorism in the country. And the government is not trying to find a way to solve that insecurity. And I said it in the previous program that insecurity in Nigeria is a cash cow business. So the law enforcement agents, the security personnel in themselves, there is a vacuum there that needs to be filled. There's a gap because these people don't want the insecurity to end. I cited an example with the allocation in the budget of Nigeria to army in 2020, 2021, 2022 under Buhari's regime, which kept on increasing on a consistent basis. In 2020, the budget for army was 420 billion, and only 26 billion was for capital expenditure. 400 billion was for recurring expenditure, and 2021, 500 billion was budgeted for army alone. And that 500 billion, more than 95% of it was budgeted for recurring expenditure, not capital expenditure. And they're using that to enrich themselves, sending the helpless soldiers to the battleground, and the concept they call monkey the walk, baboon the chop. So the real people taking the money are not the one exposing their life to danger. So it's very, very easy for them to do what they think is favoring them financially. So it is a very disturbing fact in a country like Nigeria that has been called the giant of Africa, but I don't believe that Nigeria is in any way the giant of Africa. And if Nigeria wake up, definitely the whole of Africa will wake up. That's the most disturbing fact because of the strategic advantage that Nigeria holds in geopolitics with regards to Africa. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, if I may, when I saw this story, in fact, you remember when I saw this story, it's very disturbing. Disturbing in the sense that what first came to my mind is the fact that our government could, I don't know if they are giving us the real view or information of what's going on up there in the north. Okay, but the first thing that came to my mind is, are these people in control of those particular territories? That they're able to collect $191 million undisturbed, as if they own the territory. It simply means that even Borno State alone is not being controlled as a whole by the government. These terrorists have carved their own areas for themselves, and they are not governing it. Okay, and they're even collecting that much. So they said that before you can even go and fish in Lake Chad, you need to pay some charges to these same terrorists, collecting more revenue than the state government in itself. So they've created an enclave. I don't know. We hear of the army bombarding these terrorists. They say they've taken care of this, they've decimated the terrorists. But look at what is going on. ISWAP is still thriving. It shows that it's still thriving. Oh, listening to in the news, false narratives. These people are still there and they've not gone away. I don't know if this government, I don't know if this particular issue is working, but I don't think this government is potent enough to tackle security, because if these things are still going on there and these terrorists are still collecting monies, it shows that, look, we've really failed as a whole, the Nigerian government has failed as a whole in tackling insecurity. It has not gone away at all. I believe that some local governments are still being controlled by these terrorists. That's what it simply means. So it's a failure. What even hurts me the most is that our government is particularly more interested in getting re-elected in 2027 than tackling security in Nigeria. 50 people were slaughtered in Zamfara State last week or so. The government has not come out to give a press release or say anything about what happened to those 50 people. After collecting ransom of about 50 million or so, they slaughtered 38 people as a whole. And now we are talking about insecurity in Borno State. This simply shows that a lot of local governments are being controlled by these people, and the government doesn't even care about it. It's that bad. This is a failure, complete failure. For me, this is like a vote of no confidence in this government. We forgot that even in Benue State, about 200 people were slaughtered, and our president came to Borno State and could not even go to the local government where these people were slaughtered. He stopped at the state capital. But another politician went there and went straight to that particular place. This is a complete failure on the government. And see, personally, this is a vote of no confidence on them. I think the only thing they are thinking about now is 2027, which to me, I don't have any faith in this government at all. Thank you.
They are usually saying that there cannot be two captains in a ship. But in Nigeria, that is happening. It's a due process. What do you think is the situation here? What is the problem? Is it that the government's hand is in this? Because you cannot have a government that claims authority, the ultimate sovereignty in a state, and yet you have this kind of situation happening. What is the problem?
The problem is very simple. The government is not interested in the security of lives and property of the people of Nigeria. What some of us refer to as insecurity is actually a cover for the miners, for those who have come to steal mineral resources in Nigeria. Come to think about it, if you go to Borno today, in the Borno city center, you know there is a war-torn state, because the capital is safe for those who are there, but the locals are not facing it heads on. And what's happening in those other LG is that they have been fully captured by the terrorists who are protecting the so-called NGOs. There are quite a number of NGOs filtered all around Borno states. They say they are providing aid. I don't know. To me, they are just foreign interests that are there, taking part in the stealing, the combined stealing of our mineral resources under the guise of provision of aids. They call it foreign aids, they call it humanitarian assistance. We don't need all that. We have more than enough. Imagine the whole lot of billions of dollars that has been carted away by what they call ISWAP. President Abacha of late, he said, should an insecurity persist in a country for over 24 hours, the government have a hand in it. Since 2014, Nigeria, in 2009, Nigeria has been experiencing various degrees of terrorism in the country, starting from Madala bomb blast, where the Catholic Church was brought under attack with bloodshed all around. So the Nigerian security situation is a deliberate attempt by the ruling party. The ruling party made the government of Goodluck Jonathan so ungovernable for him. And now that they are on board, they are spread all around. Think about it. The ISWAP, those you see on your screen, do they have the capacity to produce a toy gun? Not even talk about a sophisticated weapon that they go around with. So who is supplying them? Of course, it's the foreign countries, the European countries that want to supply them these ammunition. So they're just deceiving the black people. They want to destroy African continent. There is a whole lot of gang up against the African. The black man have no place home and abroad. When you go out, when you travel outside the shores of Africa, you get treated in a third class way because of your skin, the color of your skin. We have all it takes in this continent, but the European interests will not allow the average black man to have peace in his home in order to be settled and focused. And that's why they ensure that they support the worst among us, the old, the worst, the criminals amidst us to rule us. Imagine if Nigeria is a country that is destined to be great. We should have no any link with the like of who we have in Asura as a president. You know his baggage is confirmed. He forfeited over $460 million in order to escape prison time for his cocaine and other drug trafficking case at Chicago. So these are obvious reality of what we are facing as a country. Nigeria is messed up, and until we're able to have a government of the people, we have no any relief coming up very soon. You heard Erufai. He made a comment that Nigeria cannot survive yet another term of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It's a fact. I don't even know if Nigeria can survive up to 2027 because these people have abandoned governance and they have gone for politicking. If you travel across the street of Abuja, all you see is Bola Ahmed Tinubu poster. They have abandoned governance, now they are focusing on campaign. How can you be in government and all you think about on a daily basis is how to win 2027? What are you doing in 2025? What are you planning to do for 2026? No plan, no projection, no policy. All we have is ungoverned spaces. And that's why these terrorists are taking over those places, because Nigerian security situation is designed in such a way that until the president wakes up in the morning and they give directive of where they should focus, they'll just be idle, waiting in their police station. There is no security. All the intelligence they have is when Nigerian masses want to protest. The DSL will come out there to say they have intelligence, some troublemakers, they want to cause trouble here and there. No, they are not doing their job. And it's deliberate because they are not being told to do the job. So until we have a security architecture where the average policeman does not wait for the president to tell him to order arrests of criminals, the average soldier does not need to wait for him to get order from above to do his or her job. Until we get to that juncture, we are not escaping what we are facing currently.
What do you think are the socio-economic impacts of ISWAP's taxation on the local communities? Because when two elephants fight, the grasses suffer. Do you think they will become poorer and they will become more agitated and jittery?
Certainly, the people of Nigeria generally are getting poorer because you don't expect productivity in a country that is inflicted by terrorism. There is no productivity. You don't expect any meaningful investors coming around. We can only have the likes of Bill Gates that are coming to destroy the country through GMO seed. We cannot have a meaningful investors coming into Nigeria. So that is what we are facing in the meantime. And it is not going to end anytime soon until we're able to do away with what APC has brought against Nigeria, because they meant nothing well for this country. If you look at the trend, even the post-2023 election, the caliber of rulers they brought up, they are not really there to make any meaningful impact for them. You can imagine a state governor threatening Mr. Peter to visit the state. So that is the caliber of people that, and it can only get worse. These guys are not here for any solution. Borno State has been overtaken. Over half of Borno is already an ungoverned space for terrorism to thrive. And not just Borno, Adamawa, Yola, all those other states, even Middle Belt. Benue, you can see what is happening. Niger, the same thing. Do you know, as we speak, over 3 years in Niger, you cannot even step in there with the assurance that you come back alive. So those are the things that we're facing. The country is so messed up. And you can be imagined, if I say some things on this platform, some of you may be shocked. Former president being involved in terrorism cases, you know? All this castle rustling is not unseen or imaginable hands that are involved. The Nigerian rulers, the elites, are the ones that are calling these efforts to ensure that they bring down the country. And the government, they are all complicit in this whole matter. So let me not speak further, please. Nigerian security situation, until we get a government of the people, we are not making any headway.
Yeah, let me add to that. Yeah, let me add to that. You see, talking about I'm even beginning to wonder what size of the states the governors are actually governing. You talk about Borno, it shows that maybe 3 or more local governments, even 4 or 5 local governments are in control of by these people. You also have that in Niger. Yes, in Niger State, which is close to Abuja. Niger State has some local government that you cannot even step in, like you said. I think this country is a complete joke. Because I'm talking about the social economic impact you talked about. Most of these communities are being double taxed. Are being double taxed by these so-called terrorists. Okay, like the ISWAP double taxes. The local
communities
area, which simply mean that more expensive. Goods and services are going to be more expensive. So you wonder why some commodities nowadays, things are expensive now, is because of some of the effects of this banditry, kidnappings, and the fact that people cannot even go to their farms. Imagine for someone to be able to fish in the Lake Chad region, you need to pay taxes. And most times these people are normally double taxed. So economically, it's going to impact on the ordinary man out there. Increase price, or if you go and buy your garri for double the amount, you should know to some extent where all this thing is coming from. If you are able to tackle security in this country, many people will be able to go to their farms in peace, and things will definitely come down. Okay, then you work on infrastructure. People should be able to move their goods from one place to another without spending so much on transportation, especially when you have good roads. Okay, so the impact is going to be so much. We talked about Kemi Badenoch renouncing their country citizenship. Most of what this is may be the fact that, look, she has experienced the Nigerian factor event, maybe whereby she had one or two issues. She was actually talked about in the past when she came to Nigeria decades ago, when her brother had serious issues with the police and it didn't go down well. Okay, so it has to do with things like this. And there are a lot of Nigerians out there who have left this country, and the moment they left the country and got to the country where they were, they kissed the ground and said, look, I don't have anything to do with my country again. This government should take things more seriously. It's not about you being re-elected, but you impacting on your citizens. That's what matters the most. Look at the United States here. The citizens are becoming so angry because they just released the job numbers for July. And the economy only added 73,000 jobs in that country. They are furious right now. The Republicans have gone for town hall meetings and they are telling them point blank that you are not returning to your seat. Okay, that's what you get for being incompetent. Okay, so I pray the government doesn't even look at that. The government, they feel that at the end of the day, in 2027, they're just going to write their results and they're going to impose themselves in power. So that's how we have the nerve to call our bluff. Okay, imagine states in Nigeria are being ruled. Parts of them are being ruled. Zamfara, Borno, Niger, even to some extent, Yobe State. And we're not talking about it. Well, I think God help us in this country, General. Thank you.
What do you think, Mr. Due process, with the current situation of security in the country, what do you think about state police? Because this has been a topic that is reoccurring in the country. Given the situation, what do you think about state police? Do you think it will solve the problem of insecurity in the country? Or do you think there are other factors that need to be put in place, not just, localizing security architecture?
State police, if fully and adequately implemented for the purpose of state policing, it will work. But if it is just implemented shallow, just in the name of we have done it, it will not work. So imagine a state police where the indigenes, the citizens, the inhabitants, the residents are taking ownership of the security of their ancestral land. It will work. But in a country where guns meant to fight terrorism made their ways into the hands of terrorists, we counterproductive. But then we have a resolution that there is need for state police. The reason for state police is simple, because the federal police sits back and says they are waiting for orders from above. They are grossly inadequate. Their numbers cannot outnumber the terrorists who come in their large drones. If we're able to enact state policing, it will go a long way to increase the manpower number that will face the terrorists, at least the first line of defense for the people. And they have to be adequately empowered. Of course, there is initiative of state police already involved, where we have the vigilantes who are the frontliners in their respective community. Of course, they'll be doing well. They'll be doing well to provide security, safety for their people. So, state policing is technically involved, but not constitutionally. So we look up a situation where the Nigerian Constitution will give them a right of place to be able to take responsibility for the security of their people. in their respective community. So state policing, yes, is better. Imagine having an indigent of a community providing security for their forefathers, for their relatives, compared to somebody that was posted all the way from Kano or from Zamfara or from Lagos to come and provide security, for instance, someone living in Benue or in Enugu. If they are to come, they will prefer to rather stay alive than to protect those people in the states where they are posted, because they don't have any other thing doing other than the job. And they will say they prefer to stay alive. But somebody who is from that route, from that state, from that LGA, he will prefer to stake it all in an attempt to preserve or protect his people. So that's the difference. And here we have more understanding of the terrain than somebody that just posted from another state, who may have poor knowledge of the geography of that location. So those are some of the things that make state policing very, very, very important at this point. It's long overdue. It's not matter that we should be debating by now. State policing ought to have been in place because the existing security infrastructure have failed. Can you hear me, please?
All right, thank you very much. State policy solve the. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Are you still speaking?
Yes, state
all right.
Policing
state policing is something that we need. Okay, all right. Okay, but I think that there are so many factors that we need to put in place, and not just state policing. We need to start paying our security personnel well. We need to solve the problem of corruption. We need to, restructure the whole security architecture in the country. Because if you tell me that Nigeria is a sovereign, it is a lie. It says some non-state actors are controlling in some territories in Nigeria. Now look at in the east here. You have somebody in Finland, declare a word, sit at home, and a huge number of people will sit at home. Now, can you tell me that there is still an authority in that state? It is no longer sovereign. Since that sovereignty is being shared by somebody in Nigeria, in Anambra State, and also another person in Finland. So how can you tell me that sovereignty is indissoluble? It has been divided. You now share your authority. So all these things have, contributed to the state that we are in today. But I understand what you say, due process. That state needed. All right, let's move over to our last employee, primarily from customer service and support roles, with the affected positions expected to be largely replaced by artificial intelligence, AI technology. Canon Brooks delivered this news to staff through a pre-recorded video message on July the 30th, 2025, revealing a strategic shift by the company to automate certain customer-facing functions traditionally handled by human workers. Very sad indeed. Now, Atlassian, an Australian software giant co-founded by Canon Brooks, has seen a significant reduction in complex customer support inquiries driven by clients migrating to cloud-based platforms, which has enabled the company to streamline operations and reduce personnel in customer service. Future complaints and customer interactions are expected to be managed increasingly by AI-powered systems, which Canon Brooks described as capable of delivering super smart and efficient service without the delays and typical of human call centers. Now, the layoffs caught many employees off guard, with reports indicating they were informed via email after the video announcement and that their company laptops were disabled shortly afterward. Compensation packages include payments for the next 6 months to help soften the impact for those displaced. Meanwhile, co-founder Scott Farquhar defended the move publicly, emphasizing the need for Australia's copyright laws to be updated to facilitate AI development and data mining. Now, this is something that is very shocking. somebody said that AI will not be displacing, workers. It will only displace workers who have not, acclimatized themselves to the needs of the modern world, which is acquiring a skill in that direction. Now we have two AI experts here. Let me start with Dynamics. Mr. Dynamics, what do you think about this? 150 workers displaced overnight and replaced by artificial intelligence. What's your take on that?
I don't think, is he with us? If he's not with us,
please unmute yourself. Of course, I can. He's with us. Dunamis, please unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Josiah, are you?
Yes, I'm here. Yes.
Oh, I don't think. Okay, Josiah, you can carry on. Carry on, Josiah. We have lost it.
Okay. This move that this person made, right? It's true that AI is taking over everything, like I said. But one thing they fail to understand is AI is just there to improve our life, because there are things that human beings can use initiative that AI can. First of all, before the advent of AI, we were doing always, and AI were built as prototype of human beings. They were built to act like human beings, meaning that human beings are more dynamic than AI. Yes, AI improves whatever thing you're doing, then it can't replace us. So now let's take this for example. If this person is in Nigeria, right, and then he wants to replace support AI as for that. So if you call MTN customer care, they will tell you for English, you press this, for Hausa and all that. So now it's true that AI is trying to learn Nigerian language, but it's true that AI is trying to learn and
Josiah, I don't think you're not very clear. Okay.
can you hear me?
I can hear you. Speak on, please.
Okay, I said it's true that AI is trying these days to learn Nigerian languages, right? But then it can't speak fluently like the person that owns the language. AI cannot read, cannot replace human beings 100%. I can beat my chest to that. And the question that this CEO needs to ask himself is, who is going to be managing this AI? Will the AI be operating itself? It still needs human being to operate it, right? So these are things we need to put into consideration, rather than instead of laying off those staffs and replacing them with AI, why not teach them how to use those AI tools? And this way, productivity is coming in two sides. It's coming from the human aspect, it's also coming from the AI aspect. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Dynamics, can you hear me? Yeah. Do you have let's have your comment.
With regards to artificial intelligence, as he rightly said, artificial intelligence was built as a prototype of human. The work of artificial intelligence is to imitate human being in a vast variety of intelligence. And knowing what intelligence is all about, even a madman is intelligent. So the dynamism of human being is what makes humans special. But the speed and efficiency of AI is what give an AI edge over humans, because we are made up of flesh and blood, and AI is just a machine programmed to perform a particular task. You can multitask yourself, but an AI is strictly on the tasks they are built to carry on. So, with regards to whether AI will replace humans or not, significantly, AI will replace humans, but AI will replace humans who fail to evolve with the changing world. That's a reality. Because yes, if we say AI is not going to replace humans, then the numbers 150,000 staffs are being sent off for AI. That clearly signifies that AI has changed these staffs, right? It replaced them. So the only way for you to avoid that is to evolve with the changing world. We are living in an AI age, so evolve with it. I think that's my take.
But do you think government should, regulate the use of AI, corporate organizations, since it is fast overtaking the whole place or the whole climate? Do you think government should have some kind of regulation in the way it is used?
Sure, ethically, I have this question. If we allow every country to develop AI, considering the geopolitics and clashing interests between countries, who will later on control humanity? Will end up being slaves. Maybe just few humans will be controlling the population of the world, actually. And it is very, very scary if you're going to look at it from that lens. So we have to have an AI ethic definition agreed by all countries in the world that will overcome biases. We should put aside our differences because now China have developed DeepSeek. There's ChatGPT. I think ChatGPT is a company based in the United States of America. And every country is coming up with their own AI model. There will be competition, and this AI will come up with the bias of the country. So definitely, we have to come with an AI ethic definition agreed by humans, because the fight for me is not about these countries, it's about the AI and humans, because now AI are beginning to develop conscience. They don't want you to shut them down. And actually, we don't know the level that AI is going to reach. And once the AI, that scientist that says before the end of the 21st century, the AI industry will be as common as the automobile industry in the world. So that's when we'll be seeing robots as we are seeing motor vehicles. So definitely the biggest question will be, who is a real human, who is a robot? So in that, we need to have that ethical definition of artificial intelligence that will overcome biases. I think that's my take on that. Not only Nigerian government, but globally.
Thanks for your wonderful commentaries. Mr. Dunamis, let's have your take on this, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tochukwu. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on this program. So, my take on this might be quite different. You see, I am not part of let's say, the community that is scared of AI, whether it's going to take jobs or do certain things, because clearly it doesn't make any sense that it does. It's not that of a big challenge to me to think of, because considering the topic you asked about the layoff of 150, this is not the first time. I mean, not in this era, but we've have massive layoffs before. Think of the dot-com bubble in 1999 to 2000. That is after the boom of internet. Then we have during the global financial crisis in 2008, and so on. Recently, I was in a space with a former Microsoft developer, and this same question was asked, and his comment was quite different from what I've heard before, and it just makes sense. So his idea was that the market is actually correcting. After the 2019/2020 COVID-19 stay-at-home period, there was kind of an overhiring, to say people were overhired. And if you look at it this way, it is kind of in a way correcting. You see that particular part, people were overhired and they're just being laid off now. Google, for instance, hired more people than they have hired ever in 2019, 2020. That was the plateau of technology. That was the plateau of tech. You get, and that was when not only Google, but many companies had to do this extra hiring, and now the market is correcting. So the idea of if AI is going to take this or not, while it's going to automate repetitive tasks, it's still far from taking people's job. Like Mark Zuckerberg said, he said that youth should kind of focus on um, innovating new ideas than just wanting to work for somebody and then get higher than the rest. So the idea of if AI is going to replace people or not, or layoffs, it is not the first time we are hearing this. Uh, like Neil deGrasse Tyson said, he said in 1998 we had an AI that can beat a chess grandmaster, and nobody see that as a big deal. But right now, we just have AI models that can write our papers, and now we are shitting our pants. You understand? So it's not that of a big deal. The only thing we can do as humans is innovate. I think this is one thing. One of the characteristics of a human being. We adapt. We kind of we adapt, and situation are not meant to keep us back. You get? So the idea of AI taking people's job is something that is far fetched. You get? People just have to innovate with it, and like I said, what is really happening now is the market is kind of correcting due to the mistakes we made in 2019/2020. Thank you. I think this is my take on this.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Dunamis. But I have a question for you. You said the AI is not replacing people in the market, we're actually correcting. But I think this heading is a visual manifestation of her replacing humans. And we're not talking about AI capability, we're talking about the reality in the world today. And whether or not AI is going to reach its optimal potential that is being projected by scientists is a question, is still a doubt. But the question is, if today AI, something that 10 people are going to do, a single artificial intelligence tool will do it, then definitely one person will manage this um, AI tool. Then it will replace 9 different people. I think it's a reality. So it's just like basically that person that you listen to, for me, is just trying to be optimistic and trying to motivate people, let them not lose hope. But for me, the best advice is for us to evolve with it. And the idea that we should be to become innovators rather than workers, it has never worked in the history of humanity, because there has been always workers and those who invent and innovate new things. So definitely this invention idea will strictly stick to the minority, not the vast majority of people. And the vast majority of people fall under the strata of workers. So what do you have to say on that?
Okay. The idea of how would I say, well, according to your question, AI can now automate a task that somebody they require 10 people, and now it's just one person. You see, there is no statistic to support that actually. Based on the numbers, AI has created more job opportunities than it has reduced.
No,
That is
no.
just
If you say there is no data to back that, let me bring you to speed.
no.
Not just artificial intelligence,
Let me
but
finish. Let me just finish.
okay.
You see the idea of 10 people or AI is taking people's jobs. Let's take an instance. Why companies like big tech companies or other companies are laying offs, are doing these layoffs? You can still see them behind the scenes scouting for top talents. You see, right? Only what we are going to say is that what is required now to be okay. Let me kind of bring it into the tech aspect because that's my field. What is required now to be a software engineer now is a junior software engineer now is something that will make you a principal engineer in the year 2015. Understand? Only what AI has done is to just make human being much more, let's say, help us push our boundaries. You get kind of companies are not expecting more from people. Understand? Not just doing what you do every day. You come every day and you just do the same task every day. AI can do stuff like that. But yeah, AI is also creating much more job opportunities. Understand? So why companies are doing these massive layoffs behind the scene, you still see them scouting for top talent. Recently, I saw a post on LinkedIn, and not one, multiple times you see companies like OpenAI, Anthropic, kind of trying to poach people from school, not even just companies. You see them trying to, call students from school and kind of come and join us, come and do this. We need this, something like that. So you see that why the layoffs is happening for sure, and it's quite scary. We can't hide the fact that AI is kind of doing what more than we expected, right? But the idea of AI replacing human being, right, does not actually make any sense, because how AI is kind of taking or replacing other repetitive tasks, it's also creating more. Take this for example. In the field of development, we can say AI have taken the role of a front-end engineer, for instance. But you can see roles like ML ops, machine learning engineer, data engineer, data scientist. These are upcoming roles coming up. But people like front-end engineers, we don't really necessarily need them anymore. So that's my point exactly, right? While AI is taking jobs, it's also creating them. So we cannot say for sure that AI is taking human being jobs. You get, people just need to evolve and do more. What we used to do in 2015 or 2020 as a white collar job personnel is not what is required in 2025 anymore. So that is my answer to Mr. Ibrahim's questions.
All right. I understand you, but there are robots, and these robots can basically do anything. So we're not talking about just the chatbots, maybe the ChatGPT, the DeepSeek, and all these AI tools. They are robots, and they are developing robots that will serve as surgeons. They are developing robots that will serve as engineers, and clearly this is a replacement of human being. Because if a robot can come and do everything you can do, you don't need anyone to manage him. By the way, he's just a prototype of human. He can basically do everything that
actually you need human being to manage those robots. You need multiple roles are popping out here and there on people that can manage this robot. By the way, this robot actually running on some kind of model. They're not just wires. They're running on some kind of model. You get.
But one scariest thing I want to remind you about AI is AI learn themselves. That's mean if today's AI can replace front-end developers, then there is a high chance that in the nearest future,
Like I said, AI can learn.
Could replace machine learning.
AI can actually learn from existing data. It can't learn. It can't handle. It can't handle.
All right, gentlemen.
Data. You understand my point? So AI can only learn from existing data. Not there's something someone once said. Say at some point AI is going to get much more dumber. Like how I put it, it
Yeah,
goes up and down.
I agree. I don't want us to be in argument, an endless loop of argument. But I want you to understand that invention in itself appears in a very rare case. For example, most of the thing we're doing, we're just building on something that was built.
All right,
by others.
gentlemen.
If we're talking about invention, yes, very few people will invent. And
Thank you
since
very
time
much.
immemorial, it was only few people that used to invent. So definitely the AI will just replace the vast majority of people that are working the artificial intelligence you're talking about, the front end, back end, everything was developed by others.
Mr. Ibrahim,
if I may come in, there is something I once said to someone I was discussing with, and this thing is just a reality. AI is not replacing anybody, right? But just like Mr. Dunamis rightly said, AI is only going to replace those who don't know how to manage and use AI tools. It's that simple. Because there is a whole lot of things. Okay, I was in a bit of an argument with somebody in regards to graphic design. He showed me an AI generated graphic design and then a human crafted graphic design. Looking at the two of them, the human created graphic design flyer was more eye-catchy, more detailed, has more information than that was created with AI. So why am I saying this? Because AI makes mistakes. That's one thing. AI needs to be managed by human beings. And AI, yes, is learned, just like Mr. Tami said, it learns on existing data. It's what you feed AI that AI will use to work. If you don't feed AI a new language, let's say for instance that Africa now suddenly comes up with a new language. If you don't teach AI that language, if you don't feed it that language, there's no way it will know anything about or even how to use it. So I still stand on the opinion that AI cannot replace human beings. It is only there to support what we are
wonderful
doing,
contribution.
make it more.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. Thank you, gentlemen. What we agree and what is indisputable is that since we know that AI is the trending thing now, I think government should endeavor to incorporate, artificial intelligence-oriented programs and subjects in our current curriculum so that we equip our young ones with these skills so that when they are out of school, they will not be looking for jobs. That is the main thing now. But thank you all for your contributions. With this, we draw the curtain on DDM Morning Show today. Thank you for joining these important conversations. We encourage you to stay engaged by subscribing to Diaspora Digital Media for more in-depth analysis and updates on stories that matter around the world. Follow us on our social platforms and stay tuned for tomorrow's edition, where we will bring more expert insights and breaking news. Until then, remain informed and empowered. Good morning and have a great day ahead.